Greetings, welcome back. The filmmakers Basil Dearden and Michael Relph really did use their platform to make awareness, okay? To shine a light on sensitive, touchy subjects, matters in British society in the 60s. And some might say they championed the persecuted, okay? The first time they really did this was in 1961 when they made a film called Victim. Victim tells the story of a gay barrister played by Dirk Bogarde who has a much younger secret boyfriend, okay, played by Peter McHenry, who is blackmailed by a blackmailing ring who find proof that people are gay and then blackmail them with the proof until they get so far to the edge that they commit suicide. And this happens to Peter McHenry's character, who gets arrested for stealing from his firm to pay them off, and then refuses to reveal why he stole, because obviously that would get him in even more trouble. So he commits suicide in his cell at the police station. This then encourages Bogarde's character, Melville Farr, to get justice. Okay, this prominent, respectable barrister who puts his career and reputation at stake to to get justice and convict these scumbag blackmailers. Now the film is credited with paving the way to the legalization of homosexuality in this country. It was the first film that ever used the word homosexual in the script, and that got the film banned across the pond in the US. But it was shown in this country, and it's often credited with being very influential. And in fact, I think a particular MP, can't remember his name, around the time of the legalization, actually wrote a letter to Bogarde, thanked Bogarde for participating in the film, and said he had, the two of them had actually, no, he said to Bogarde, this is partly, you deserve part of the credit for the legalization. Fantastic film, great drama. And then they made a film called this is kind of a kitchen sink drama in a way. Life for Ruth, filmed in Newcastle, in Durham, in which is I think near Newcastle, and it tells the story of a young girl, Ruth, who gets badly injured in a boating accident, and the doctor says to the parents, we can save her life, but she needs a blood transfusion. And the dad is very religious and refuses to let his daughter have a blood transfusion. He refuses to give his consent, and the daughter dies. Which prompts the doctor, in this case, Patrick McGoohan, played by Patrick McGoohan, to sue the dad, the father. And it's again a fantastic drama, a subject that very few filmmakers would have touched. This matter of religious freaks, really, like Jehovah's Witnesses, refusing to give consent to medical professionals or doctors to save their children's lives, insisting that it was it was up to God, and if God would rather have the child in heaven, then that's God's choice, you know. So it was a fantastic film at the time. Um, Michael Craig there as the dad, and Janet Munro as the mum, who um, sort of rails against her husband in the aftermath, really kind of resents him for making this decision on her behalf. You know, she's there in at the hospital, is too timid, too afraid to speak up against her husband's irrational, stupid decision. Janet Munro was initially a child star, or came from a very theatrical vaudevillian family, so she grew up in show business, and obviously her she was, I suppose, had her big break in Disney films like Darby O'Gill, Swiss Family Robinson, but she was as the 60s started, she began to get a lot of really adult, serious, dramatic roles to play, and proves herself here, especially in this film, as a very capable dramatic actress. And thank God she was given the opportunity, like Diana Dawes around this time was, to you know, she was able to prove herself. Then they made Sapphire. Dearden and Relph made Sapphire, which tells the story of a mixed race girl who is killed. Body is found on Hampstead Heath, and it transpires that she was pretending to be fully white because she was so physically appeared to be so white, people wouldn't guess that she was actually mixed race, came from a mixed race parentage. And it explores as the detectives try and uncover this case and find the killer, it explores the racial tensions in London at the time. Some of the areas which had growing immigrant populations, people from the Caribbean, such as, you know, places like, say, Jamaica, which were big areas that had Jamaican communities. Earl Cameron plays the girl's brother, who comes up from Birmingham to when his sister dies. Fantastic actor. He was in Pool of London. I believe he was in one of the Bond films, one of Sean Connery's Bond films, and he was in Flame in the Streets, another fantastic realistic drama, though I don't think Dearden and Relph had anything to do with that. Michael Craig, who seemed to be a favourite of Dearden and Relph, he plays the sergeant actually on the case, and he is openly racist, which is and his racism is juxtaposed with Nigel Patrick's character, who is the inspector, and he is much more progressive and tolerant, whereas Craig, he doesn't really care if there's any evidence. He really just wants the killer to be black to kind of prove or justify his prejudice. And then by the end of the film, he is transformed. You know, Earl Cameron's character is so his wisdom kind of convinces the character that this racism thing is pretty pointless. Yeah, three fantastic films, different issues, all very complex, very sensitive at the time. It took a lot of bravery on behalf of Dirk Bogarde to play this character, and it takes a lot of capability to star in films like these. You know, you have to be very good as an actor. Some of the best actors in England at the time are in these films. So, thank you very much for watching this, and see you again soon.